Hi students, I welcome you all to EPG Parshala. This is Dr. P. A. Rajeshwari, Assistant Professor SG in the Department of Food Science and Nutrition, Avinashalingam Institute for Home Science and Higher Education for Women, Coimbatore. Today we are going to discuss about composition of rice grain. Cereals provide the world with most of its food calories and about half of its protein. These are consumed in either directly or in the modified form. On a worldwide basis, rice is the most important cereal for human food. Over 90% of the rice is grown in Asia, where most of it is consumed. In recent years, annual production of rice has been arrived around 4,215 million metric tons. Rice is a staple diet for more than half of the world's population. In 39 countries, rice is a staple diet, but the dependence of rice for food energy is much higher in Asia, with exception of high-income countries in Asia. Per capita rice intake has been stable or increased moderately over the past 30 years in close association with population and income growth. Rice, supply, income, availability and price are the key determinants of the diversity in Asian foods. Due to the importance of rice in the diet, its consumption and nutritional characteristics are related to humans' health. This cereal is a source of energy due to its high starch content. It also provides proteins, lipids, vitamins and minerals. Rice has a positive effect on the prevention of several chronic diseases due to its different constituents and its composition. The present module is designed to educate about the rice composition and its nutritional characteristics. Let us now see about the objectives. This module aims to educate on the different nutrients present in rice grain, the percentage of the nutrients present, and the distribution of nutrients within the grain. On a worldwide basis, per capita rice intake has been stable or increased moderately over the past. The composition of nutrients varies in different parts of the rice grain. The soluble carbohydrates are majorly starch. The fiber portion is indigestible, which is present in bran and hull. Starches are amylose and amylopectin. Protein is of better quality, but it is deficit in the amino acid lysine. Pulses are rich in lysine but poor in methionine. When consumed together, the protein quality improves due to mutual supplementation. The lipid content of rice is mainly in the bran fraction. The major fatty acid is linoleic acid, oleic acid and palmitic acid. It also contains alpha-tocopherol, enzymes and pigments. The rice grain lacks vitamin A, D and C. Processing such as milling, enrichment and improved varieties of rice crop in cultivation affect the nutritional composition of rice grain. Rice grain are also used in preparation of many products. Well students, now let us see about the composition of rice in detail. The rice composition depends on both its environment where the plant grows and the genetic constituent of the plant. As such, the part of the rice grain, the bran, pericarp, germ and aleurone are found to be rich in vitamins and minerals, while the endosperm, which is the largest portion of the grain, contains starch. Protein is also found in all tissues of the grain. Energy. Rice is the main source of energy, contributing to 70 to 80% of energy, as it forms the major portion of the meal in Asian countries. In the milling fractions of rice, the brown has the highest energy and protein content and the hull has the lowest. 100 grams of rice gives more than 345 kilocalories of energy. It acts as the major energy provider due to its quantity of consumption. Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are mainly found in the form of starch. The amylose and amylopectin are the main form of starch present in rice grain. These can be termed as crude fiber and soluble carbohydrates. The long grain rice type is composed of 17.5% of amylase, but some varieties of rice do not contain amylose. Rice also contains free sugar such as fructose, raffinose, glucose, dextrose, etc. The carbohydrate portion is high in milled rice than in brown rice. The fiber portion of the carbohydrate does not get digested. They are concentrated in bran layer. They are composed of cellulose, hemicellulose and pentogens. The hemicellulose is made up of pentogens, arbinose and xylose. The starch is a polymer packed in granules called starch granules. The molecule in starch are of two types, namely amylose and amylopectin. Amylose is made up of glucose units arranged in linear order through alpha-1,4 linkage. They have many hydroxyl groups available for easy bonding to form a three-dimensional gel structure. It is responsible for gelatinization, pasting and retrogradation property of starch. Amylopectin or branched chain alpha-1,4 linkage. They impart different characteristics to food starch in comparison to amylose. 70 to 80% of the total starch is in the form of amylopectin. Next comes the proteins. The cereal composition of protein varies widely. Rice is found to have less protein in comparison to wheat and other cereals. Protein is found in all tissues of the grain. High concentration occurs in embryo, scutellum and aileron layer than in endosperm, pericarp and testa. Within the endosperm, the concentration of the protein increases from the center to the periphery. The types of protein present are albumins, globulins, protamines and glutenins. The proportion of these proteins differ in different cereals. Rice contains 15% of globulins, 5 to 8% prolamins and the rest is gelatins. The gliadinins and glutenins are together known as gluten proteins. The gluten has unique elasticity and flow properties. In rice, gluten content is low when compared to that of wheat. Hence, wheat is used for dough making in bread and other bakery products. Rice contains around 7% protein. The endosperm protein is localized in protein bodies. The crystalline protein bodies are rich in glutenin and the large spherical protein bodies are rich in prolamine. Rice protein is of better quality, but it is deficient in the amino acid lysine. The amount of lysine present ranges to 3.5%. Although they contain less quantity of protein, they provide more than 50% of protein required for an individual as they are taken in large quantity. Commonly, Cereals are consumed along with pulses in the Indian diet. Pulses are rich in lysine but poor in methionine. When consumed together, the protein quality improves due to mutual supplementation. Hence, there is improvement in quality of both proteins. The endosperm storage is composed of 60 to 65% crystalline protein and 20 to 25% spherical protein. Protein content of the polished rice have a lower biological value but higher digestibility than those of rice bran and rice polishing. The rice protein is also rich in arginine compared to other cereal protein. The biological value of rice protein is 80 when compared to that of wheat, which is around 66, and corn is around 50. Lipids. The lipid content of rice is mainly in the bran fraction, around 1 to 2%. Constituting 20% of the dry weight, they are present as lipid bodies in the aileron layer. Protein bodies, particularly to core, are rich in lipids. The major fatty acids are linoleic, oleic and palmitic acid. Essential fatty acids are in rice. Essential fatty acids in rice are around 29 to 42% as linoleic acid. The essential fatty acid increases with the temperature during grain development but reduces the oil content. The starch lipids are mainly monoacyl lipid complexes with amylase. Starch lipid content is low in waxy starch granules. Starch lipids contribute to little energy of rice grain. Next, we will move on to vitamins and minerals. The B vitamins are concentrated in the brown layer of the rice grain. It also contains alpha tocopherol. The rice lacks vitamin A, D or C. 50% of the total thiamine in rice grain is present in the scutellum and 80 to 85% niacin is in the pericarp and aileron layer. The embryo accounts for 95% of the total tocopherol and 1/3 of oil content of rice grain. 39% of riboflavin is present in the bran and only 8% is retained in the polished rice and 53% is in the milled rice fractions. The minerals are also concentrated in the outer layer or brown rice or in the bran. A major portion of the phosphorus, about 90%, is in the form of phytin phosphorus. Potassium and magnesium are the principal salts of phytin. The mineral ash contribution of rice is 51% in the bran and 10% in the polishings. The phosphorus phytin is present in the bran and it is unavailable for absorption. These are insoluble and interfere with absorption of iron. They are found in high amounts in unpolished rice. Next comes the moisture. The rice grain contains moisture at the time of harvest ranging from 22 to 38%. This is found to be undesirable for storing rice. Hence, it is to be minimized to 14% for 6 to 12 months storage beyond and 1 year period. Enzymes. Rice contains various enzymes, namely amylases, proteases, lipase, oxidases, peroxidases and phenolase. On the storage, the oxidase activity of rice remains constant, but the amylase, lipase, peroxidase activity decreases. The activity of alpha amylase in fresh rice is probably responsible for sticky consistency after cooking. This enzyme gets inactivated during storage uncooked grains get separated easily. Pigments. Pigments present in rice are anthocyanins and carotenoids, which are responsible for its color. Now let us have a look at the processing techniques which affects the nutritional composition of rice. Milling. Milling has a profound effect on the rice composition as non-starch constituents decrease from surface to core of the grain. The amount of outer layer removed during milling is most important in determining the nutrient composition of this grain. The composition of rice nutrients vary in different layers of the grain. When the chemical composition of milled rice is compared with brown rice during milling, there is a 10% reduction in weight of the grain. The outer bran containing the essential nutrient, then endosperm, is removed in milling. The protein and vitamin are lost considerably. The vitamin lost are mostly thiamine and lysine. The diet of rice eating people cannot meet the nutritional requirement due to low nutrient content. Also in milling, major portion of the fat, fiber, mineral, ash and vitamin of rice are removed with the bran. Calorie from starch is largely retained, therefore inevitably reducing the protein content of rice grain, but milling is required for improving the palatability and digestibility of rice. Milling also removes some aromatic, volatile and indigestible fibrous material in the bran and embryo portion. It is also necessary for storing rice. Thus, the process such as parboiling comes into play where most of the nutrients will be conserved. Next important aspect is enrichment. The two major ways to enrich rice are as follows. First method is to coat the polished rice with enrichment mixture and then to further coat the grain with a waterproof edible film material. Upon hardening, the film material prevents the enriched ingredient from dissolving away when the marketed rice is washed before cooking as in common practice. The second method involves parboiling or steeping with the whole grain. The second method involves parboiling or steeping the whole rice grain in hot water before removal of husk, bran and germ in milling. Parboiling may be done for about 10 hours at 70 degrees Celsius, although several other time temperature combination can be made. This causes the B vitamin and minerals to leach into the endosperm. The rice is then dried, milled and polished as before. Parboiled rice processed for enrichment and other desirable changes in the rice kernels have also been referred to as converted rice. The principal nutrients used to enrich rice are thiamine, niacin and iron. Thiamine is used to decrease the incidence of beriberi where polished rice is the major item of the diet. Let us now have a look at the improved varieties of rice. Plant breeders are continuously at work improving the yield and properties of rice grains. This includes consideration of soil types, weather conditions, response to fertilizer applications and resistance to disease and insect attacks, nutritional quality, storage, stability, milling properties, cooking and processing characteristics and other factors. The development of high yielding varieties of rice designed, that is IR8, by the International Rice Research Institute in Philippines kindled hopes that continued world storage of this important food grain could be achieved. IR8 has proven especially as high yielding variety in the tropics since seed became available in 1966. Consumer acceptability of this rice has not been universal. However, other high yielding varieties with better milling and cooking characteristics have replaced much of the IR8. It is also important that the staple consumption of rice has been reduced as wheat becomes available, bread and pasta. Golden rice is developed using nutritional genomics. Golden rice has enhanced beta-carotene, iron and protein content, particularly amino acid lysine. Golden rice would reduce the incidence of malnutrition globally. Coming to rice products, rice can be made quick cooking or almost instant in terms of preparation time. This is done by pre-cooking to gelatinize the starch and then drying under conditions that will give the rice an expanded internal structure for quick absorption of water during subsequent preparation. Rice may also be ground into flour and as such is used by people allergic to wheat flour. Rice is a source of starch. It is the grain that is used in preparation of fermented alcoholic beverages in Japan. Rice hull, bran and germ are also used as animal feed. My dear students, in this session, we have got insight about the nutritional composition of rice. Environmental factors are known to affect the composition of rice grain. Some of them are the use of fertilizers, soil type and temperature during ripening and growth duration. For instance, when growth duration increases, there is a decrease in protein content. Similarly, protein content increases with nitrogen fertilizers. The mineral content of the grain is affected by the mineral content of the soil and of the irrigation water. Thus, favorable environment can help improve the quality of rice grains. Furthermore, with elevated life standards, home-pound rice is consumed in very little amount. People tend to consume more of highly polished and refined products due to its improved palatability and convenience in preserving and transporting these foods. When these low nutrient foods are consumed over a long period of time, these leads to nutritional hazards which are irreversible. Hence, as the future pillars of the country, we the nutrition students should learn about the composition of rice and come out with innovative technologies to overcome the obstacles and cultivate and produce new variety of rice which do not affect the health of human population. Thank you.